Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Global Happenings today. Some weeks back, the former president of Nigeria was tackled over the issue of ownership of mineral resources, natural resources being for Nigeria and not the community. Well, even in 2021, there were issues on 13% derivative being moved from being an state issue to a community issue. A lot of the governors from the Niger Delta region, or rather Niger Delta area, rather, or wanted to tackle that issue, saying it's going to bring a lot of bad blood in the Niger Delta area, being that they've always been the one housing that derivative. As it is right now, a lot of issues are going on. 2023 is around the corner, and it looks like even the southern Nigeria is in some sort of internal issues. Really is a serious one. Before we go to the newspaper, to give us a case study that's going on right now, like, subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button beside it. You see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. Well, engineer Obong Samuel Atta was a special guest at the first gathering in 2022 of the foremost youth movement in Eked Youth Union to set the action plan for the year. In what was tagged Facing the Eked Future, the event had distinguished sons and daughters of Eked land grace the occasion while youth weren't left out in what would turn out to become the mouthpiece of Eked youth, especially as politicians began to focus more on elections than delivering on the dividend of democracy to Eked youths. The author of Eked in his presentation added his voice to the current issue ravaging the relationship between Eked and Ibino local government area, the Sub-Creek Forest and the Rear Code clearly that Ibano were settlers, and it is insulting for them to lay claims to land that is not their own, even after Eket won the case in court. The premier chairman of Eket sent word to the governor of Akwa Ibom State to return the 13% derivative to oil-producing towns, as it is not money for the state but the oil-producing towns. He also called the attention of the state government to the former Kwa River Hotel and the Kwa Steel Company that was sold out in what can be termed as unconstitutional process. In another call, another former chairman of ECET, Honorable Emmanuel Udo, harped on the group to go into all communities of ECET Nation to drive in membership from youth to ensure massive participation in union activities. The DP of ECET Division, Inspector Diko, called on politicians in Eket to create jobs for the teeming Eket youths, even if it's cottage industries. He further praised Eket youth for the cordial relationship the police always enjoys from the community, while charging youth to go about their activities peacefully while preparing for elections this year. Youth leaders from, while preparing for elections next year. Youth leaders from other leading ECED groups spoke at length while congratulating the union on the bold move. In the union president's remark, Obongwad Ekemini David read out union plans for year 2022 while charging union members to get up for what he termed an activity field year. It could be recalled that Eked Youth Union was the only body that represented Eked in the Constitution Amendment public hearing on the Federal Republic of Nigeria 2020, when even the Eked leadership could not represent communities, thus Eked being the only ethnic nationality in Akwa Ibom that was not represented, if not for the Eked Youth Union. The union confronted PHED for the interest of society and business owners and got electricity restored to Eket on January 1st, 2022, after days of blackout during the festive period. The only youth group who partnered with the only activist group in Eket, the Ited Afang Eket Union, to hold the first World Conference in Eket history. The effect of that press conference is overwhelming. All right, but now we're going to look into the news properly and analyze this. Now, what is going on right now is the fact that the 13% derivative is, in fact, the crux of the matter. I cannot forget, and I'm sure most Nigerians would recall, that sometime in 2021, there was a switch. In fact, that switch caused a lot of issues where when they were saying the issue of environmental degradation, how the community, the youth were suffering, despite the fact that their community, their lands were producing the very revenue generation that is sustaining the whole country. And they were clamoring, insisting that look, they don't want to go back into militancy, but there needs to be a change in welfare. Fast forward, the government of the day changed the whole thing. Said, okay, fine, we understand your plight. That 13% will be going for the oil producing communities, and that was where the governors in the Niger Delta area, that's south, and in fact, call it Niger Delta area, because if you want to go by south, Imo also is an oil producing state, and some other Ondo and the rest. So they had to include Niger Delta area. These are places, even though you're not from the south, but they're also producing oil. So they termed it Niger Delta area. But back to the news anyway. The Niger Delta governors got really vexed, saying, "Look, this is a way of joining issues with the communities." Now, when the community begin to hear that the 13% derivative belongs to them and not the governor, that the governors should not be housing it, what do you expect? And if that goes straight to the community, where would they get those monies? There's a lot of them depend so strongly on that allocation money, and all of a sudden, that community is the only one, housing that money. That will also bring bad blood, because a lot of these youth want to go into some sort of say, okay, it's not just the community, our land, our clan itself is the one producing it, and it's not all go well. But they feel that all this while they have been the one housing, and they know how to distribute it, so that the other parts of the state that are not producing or will not feel marginalized and feel neglected, and there will not be some sort of haphazard development. But the community youth got very vexed, saying, okay, for the number of years you guys have housed, the governors have housed this 13% derivative, what is it? What's changed? What can they pinpoint some of the projects they have done that warrant the 13%? In fact, at some point they were even demanding for accountability of the past 13% derivative they've been paid thus far. It generated a lot of issues, but at some point was played down. And now, fast forward to now, 2022, the youth of Eket is now asking the government of Akwa Ibom State to return the 13% derivative that, after all, it has been given to them, so that they should stop housing it. But the question is, okay, if the governors don't house it, who's going to house it? And if it's going to be the clan head that will house it, don't you think it will begin to bring bad blood? Don't you think brothers will begin to rise against brothers just because of money? I don't know why this was done this way, but I just hope that it will not bring brothers against one another over the issue of that 30% derivative for directly to the communities. That's how we're going to wrap it up. I don't know how this will come. I just pray that the governors will find a way around